Today on Wild Florida, we're going to be talking about the 4 ways to start seeds for your food garden. Hi, I'm Jacqueline, the Wild Floridian, and welcome to week 15 of the Growing Food is Easy challenge. The challenge where we save money, go local, and save the world one piece of food at a time. If this is your first time joining us and you want to start from the beginning, go ahead and click on this card right here, or you can wait till the end and a box will appear in one of these 4 corners, and then you can start then. Okay, let's get into it. The 4 ways to start your seeds when growing your food. So we've spent a lot of time on soil, and the reason we did that was because the thing that's going to impact the health of our plants the most is going to be the soil. But now that we've gotten past that, it's time to talk about planting seeds. So number one is starting our seeds in the ground. So once we've purchased our seeds, or maybe we've harvested our seeds, the best and most ideal way to start seeds is by just planting them in the ground, just like nature does it. The reasons why? Well, because moving a seed around multiple times or a baby plant is not ideal. It can tend to break up the root structures, it can interfere with the microbial action that's happening. And so we always want to plant them in the ground first. The other things that it can do is because some of the other methods have equipment that you need for it, or things that you should go and buy, or maybe have to make, it is the most efficient way to go and plant your seeds too. You basically put it in the ground, and from that point on, now it's up to the plant with a little bit of maintenance from you. The other thing is it's one of the cheapest ways because you don't have to buy any other materials. Just put it in the ground. Just put it in the ground. The second method for planting seeds is starting seeds in containers. You can take trays that you've already gotten from planting other things like flowers or other vegetable plants, or you can just go ahead and create little containers or pots and start your seeds in there. This is a great method, especially if you're new to planting food, because I know early on I didn't know what the plant was supposed to look like when it first came out of the ground. Like, I know what a tomato looks like, but I don't know what a tomato plant looks like. So I couldn't be sure when things were in the ground, is that a tomato plant or a weed? And so by putting it in a container, I could be sure that that was definitely the tomato that I planted. The next thing is that you may want to put it in a container because you need to start your growing season earlier, right? Especially up in the north of the country, we need to get things like peppers and tomatoes going early on. Now, while in Florida that might not be as big of an issue generally, it's a good way you can start the season without having to worry about the weather conditions being ideal outside. So this is a great way for that. Now, because you started in a container, there is a higher incident rate of death of your plant when you go to transplant it. Transplant means just taking it out of the container and putting it in the ground. Also, it costs a little bit more money just because you're going to have materials like those little pots, but you can get them for relatively cheap, or you can just repurpose things that already exist around your house. And it's a little bit less efficient because you have the extra step of moving it from a container into the ground. But is it that much more work? Meh. Now the watch out is because typically people are using potting soil in those containers. Now, just because that plant started to thrive in the container, once you move it into your soil, it may not do as well just because the soil's not the same. So that is a watch out. This is not a no-go, but if you're new and you want to have higher confidence, go ahead and start in containers, or try all 4 methods that we talk about today. So number 3 is you can start seeds by sprouting them. You probably remember this from when you were in like kindergarten. You took a paper towel, got it damp, put it inside of like a plastic bag, and then you went and put some seeds on it, zipped it up, and it made like a little mini greenhouse, and they sprouted up before you went and planted them in the ground or into another container. Yep, it's a fun activity to do with the kids, and as a new gardener, this is a great way for you to see that, hey, my seeds are alive, yay! Also, if you have older seeds and you're even an experienced gardener, this is a great way to validate that those seeds are still living. And also with especially big box store seeds, it's not uncommon that all the processing that they've gone through have created seeds that aren't going to sprout. See, as new gardeners, you may think it's you. It's all you. You must have a black thumb, but in reality, it might be that you have bad seeds. The other thing is that because you sprouted them, it is going to be a less efficient method. You have a much higher death rate for each seed that sprouts. It's not very likely that all of them are going to make it into the dirt, even if you put them in a container or you put them straight into the ground. But it's not that big of a deal. Usually the method, that's why they give you so many seeds in a seed packet, is because they expect for a high death rate. So just watch out for it. emotionally brace yourself for the fact that your little baby sprouts are probably going to die. Another reason why you might want to sprout is because you want to eat the sprouts. Instead of buying those fancy sprouts at the grocery store, you can grow them yourself. And number 4 is you can try the scatter method. Scattering seeds, just kind of like the olden days, just chucking them around, can be a great fun activity for you and the kids to do. And if you're just one of those free spirits who loves to just go with the wind, also a great way. If you don't like structure and straight lines, also fun to do. So I highly recommend it if you're just more free-spirited. But the watch out is that, you know, if you're not really clear on what a carrot looks like, a pepper, or that weed, you may not be sure what's growing in there. Also, you may not be growing it the most effectively or efficiently, but if you're in a free spirit kind of mode, go for it. Scatter those seeds. I've done it, and I just did it over there, and I'm now gonna have to go to the plant identification group because I don't remember what that was. So now that we've talked about those 4 ways that you can go and start seeds, we should also talk about some alternative methods for starting food plants. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. So to make sure that you don't miss that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notification. New videos each week. And right now we've been releasing 5 videos a week for 3 weeks because we're doing the Victory Garden series, where it is a much more compressed version of going from lawn to a Victory Garden in a snap. So check that out, and also go check out the other videos. I'll see you soon. Bye.